Hi guys! I cannot see if anybody's on here because of the glare on my phone, so I'm just going to hope that you guys pop on as I start talking. So it is Thursday night when I'm recording this. I know some of you guys watch the replay, so just to give you a little bit of background when this is being uploaded. I don't know the date exactly. I think it's the 10th today, so Thursday, June 10th-ish. I'm lucky I even know what day of the week it is with everything that has been going on and working at home and not really leaving the house as much as I would like to, but I know it's Thursday, which is great. So tonight I am talking about a 7-day health reset. If you guys have been following along in the group, I did upload a document that includes the entire breakdown of this. I actually have added a few more pieces that I will upload separately in the group. I think it's under the units section. So if you go in there, you can see everything that I have uploaded. It is a full, just kind of written breakdown of the steps, but then it also includes a sample meal plan and a breakdown of the food categories as well, which may be helpful as you're going along if you do plan to do this. So I wanted to first start off by saying, if this is something that I get enough interest in, and I'm going to gauge interest in the group after this video as well, drop a comment below or just hit like on this video if it's something you would want to do. I'm going to gauge interest in actually doing a 7-day health reset challenge together in this group. So I'm not sure exactly when that would start. It would probably be based on the interest I get and when that kind of comes in. I'm thinking it would be either next Monday, probably the following Monday after that, just to give people enough time to kind of review the documents, go shopping, ask questions. But I am thinking about doing a full 7-day health reset in the group to kind of get everybody doing it together, or as many people as are interested, and then we can really offer support and I can answer questions as we're going along. So if that's something you guys would want to be a part of, definitely let me know, and then I can start a specific event in the group and we can all just kind of keep tabs on what's going on right in there in one place. But otherwise, this information is available for you guys whenever this is something that you want to do. I do encourage, if it's something that sounds interesting, that you do start and complete it, start to finish, and follow all the steps, because it's really important to actually feel the benefits and the effects of really the reset if you do all of the steps and all of the pieces. I will touch on a few things that are sort of optional, so if you guys are kind of not sure about some of these pieces in here, I will let you know the ones that you can kind of do without if you really are not feeling them, which one specific thing on here, if you've read through it, you may be already thinking that. So what kind of brought me to share this with you guys? I have done this in the past several times, I just haven't exactly put a name on it. I've also been asked by a few different people, how can they lose this quarantine 15 that apparently is a thing? And at first, when I was asked, I was like, that is not what I do. I don't do crash diets. I am really all about the healthy long-term lifestyle. So I was a little hesitant at first in sharing something like this. But then my family was here last weekend and we were talking a little bit more about it. And I realized what I do for like more of a health reset, it's kind of like a mini detox, kind of like a mini cleanse, but really not that extreme. What I'm going to share here is more of what I think would be really beneficial for you guys. It will kickstart weight loss. It will do all of the things, but it is not meant to be a crash diet. It's really meant to be kind of that bridging piece between maybe where you are now, if you've gone a little bit off your healthy lifestyle or lost some of those habits you may have developed or wanted to start, and where you want to be. So really this is just to use as a tool for a 7-day complete reset to take you further into that healthy lifestyle path. It is not a path. It is not meant to just, lose some weight and then go back and like eat a whole pizza on day 8. So there really is a strategic way to do this, to reintroduce foods, and then I will be sharing with you guys how you can turn this into really an overall lifestyle when we're finished. So I decided to go ahead and share this with you guys because it is something I've done in the past and I think it may be helpful for others as well. Now, times when I have found this really beneficial is like last week. I posted on my Instagram and Facebook, you guys may have seen it, my family was in town like I mentioned, and obviously we all eat very differently. When people are coming in from out of state, I want them to experience some of the food we have here in Atlanta. I do the same when I go to Buffalo. So obviously it's a little bit different than the way I normally eat when I'm at home. Typically I'm eating 80 to 90% of my diet is whole, unprocessed foods, really nutrient dense, anti anti-inflammatory, all of that, and maybe 10% is going out to eat and having things that I don't cook at home and that may have, you know, more of the added sugars, preservatives, all of that. When I have family in town, it obviously goes more to maybe like the 70-30%, and I'm very flexible with it. I don't move as much, all of that. So then when they leave, my body can feel it. I can feel that I was not following my typical plan as I usually do when they were here, which is totally fine. But sometimes things like this health reset are perfect for that. When you just want to get back to feeling great, so then you can continue on with what you want to do to feel even better. So that's where perfect times to add something like this in. Or if you really just want to kickstart, you know, a new plan, that's what this is really meant for, not as a crash diet. So anyways, like I said, I have had clients do it in the past. I've had a few family members do it. I've had friends, and I actually just had another family member finish it up, and I've been getting excellent feedback. So I, again, really wanted to share it with you guys in case anybody else could benefit. So why it's beneficial? Really, it's meant, again, to be a quick reset for your mind and body and your taste buds, which is huge. If you are consuming more of the processed and packaged foods, some of the whole nutrient-dense foods are not going to taste as good to you. If you have a package of Oreos and you have strawberries, while they're both sweets, the package of Oreos is going to probably taste much better to you if that's what you're used to consuming. Myself, I used to have tons and tons of non-nutritive sweeteners in my diet, specifically Splenda. I've shared this before. There was one time I counted up having 12 packets in one day, which is crazy. When I would eat fruit, it tasted like nothing to me. It tasted bland. It didn't matter if it was in season or not in season. It always just tasted like nothing. I mean, I would put sugar on my strawberries, which, you know, it's kind of unnecessary because strawberries are very sweet on their own, especially if you're eating them in season. So after I eliminated those artificial sweeteners, which are 10 times sweeter than sugar, from my diet, food started to taste completely differently to me. Vegetables started tasting good. They actually had flavor when I seasoned them and cooked with healthy fats. Fruit was sweet. It tasted great. And that is what something like this is really meant to do. Remove all of that processed stuff, the additives, the preservatives, the fillers, the extra added sugars, and allow you to taste real food and kind of experience the benefits of it nutritionally, but also the taste and how good it can really be. So when you're removing all of those other things, it allows you to be able to do more of that. This 7 days, you're also going to be eliminating foods that cause digestive upset and inflammation for many people. As I'll explain a little bit more, the first 4 days is going to be very, very structured in eating the most nutrient-dense, functional, and anti-inflammatory foods. And then the last 3 days, you're going to have the option of slowly bringing back in some foods that are problematic for some, but not for all. Dairy, legumes, grains, and that is completely up to you what you choose to do based on what foods you want to eat long term. So for myself, I actually did a longer stint of this originally, the Whole30, if anybody's familiar with that. Very similar to what we're doing here in the 7 days. However, mine's just super condensed down. And I decided not to bring legumes, grains, and dairy back in for the majority of my diet. So like in the 80 to 90%, I don't have that on a regular basis. I don't buy it. I don't really consume it unless it's for a specific recipe or meal that we plan and end up having. So that is completely up to you. If those are foods that you want to have on a regular basis, you will reintroduce them. If they're not, then you just keep them out of your diet and maybe save them for, you know, those special occasions when you're out and something looks good to you. This is really customizable and I want you to make it work for you. This will definitely help you if you follow along with the plan. You're going to be adding in foods that reduce inflammation. Inflammation is really where most chronic health conditions, insulin resistance, if you struggle with losing weight, that comes from really what it means is your internal gut is upset and it's coming out in some way, whether that's through acne, weight gain, all sorts of other things. Inflammation is literally the root cause of most of those types of things. So we're going to be in this plan eating a lot of foods and drinks that are reducing inflammation. And all of those processed and packaged foods that we find in our grocery stores, many of those are containing preservatives and additives that are causing inflammation, which is why we're removing them. You'll see an increase in energy, overall health and well-being if you do follow along with this. Kickstart weight loss and healthy habits, which is the overall point, is starting to incorporate some of those healthy habits. Introduce new foods you haven't tried before. Something that's always exciting to me is when, like I said, my family was just here and they're leaving and they're texting me pictures of trying new things that they have not tried before because they saw me eating them while they were here. That is honestly like so exciting, and I'm hoping that you guys may be doing that when you try this out, and then even afterwards you'll be experimenting with foods that you haven't had before. And that's a way to really make this fun, is trying things that you maybe typically wouldn't buy, but you've seen a recipe or you know it's really great for you and that there is a way to cook it that does sound kind of good. So it's a way to keep it fun and experiment with new things. Increasing your fruit and vegetable intake overall, that you are definitely going to be doing that with this because that is the majority of what we're going to be eating. And if you follow along, it will leave you feeling great and ideally wanting you to continue it way past the 7 days, because that is the point. I really want you to wake up feeling great every day, not just for these 7 days. And again, like I mentioned, decrease inflammation. It's the root cause of most bad things in your body. That's the easiest way to explain it. All right, so 7-day health reset. Like I said, it's really just a super condensed down, cleaned up version of my overall healthy lifestyle. I normally do a 90-to-10 ratio of nutrient dense functional foods, and this is staying all in what I do in that 90% in the majority. So I think I covered most of these other things on here. So what it is, 4 days of nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods, 3 days of reintroduction, like I will talk about, movement and mindset strategies and specifics, and then some bonus options at the end to add in, which I keep thinking of more and more, so I'll keep adding them to the group. So getting started, what to think about. I highly encourage you to decide, what do you want to get out of this? What foods do you want to eat less of in your overall diet? So I want you to picture your overall healthy lifestyle that you are going to create for yourself. What foods do you want to eat less of? If you're not sure at this point, that is totally okay. But if you are, I would write those down. Is it dairy? Is it grains? Is it legumes? Added sugars are going to be one that we are eliminating for 7 days. I highly encourage you not to plan on adding some of that stuff back in, because those are the foods that are literally creating inflammation in your body on a daily basis. Gluten, additives, preservatives, those are things I highly suggest you don't plan to add back in, but leave room for them in the 10 to 20%. So days 1 to 4 is the complete reset. Days 5 to 7 are for reintroducing foods. Like I said, I will give you suggested days on when to reintroduce what, if you choose that those are things that you want to have in your overall diet. So starting mindset. Because for me, mindset is the foundation of literally everything we do. We have to trace everything back to our thoughts if we want to be successful long term. So number 1 is consider that this is the start of a long-term healthy lifestyle, not a crash diet. I kind of touched on that before. Do it from a place of self-love or self-like versus dislike and destruction. It makes a huge difference in your results and the sustainability of what you're doing. You can't hate yourself skinny, and you can't diet yourself happy. It's like my favorite phrase, because I tried for so many years and it does not work. It does not work where you start off very unhappy and you become this magically happy person once you lose weight or create a healthy lifestyle. You really want to work on those two things at the same time. You want to start off with your healthy habits and lifestyle, and start off with finding things that you like about yourself, because we want to take care of the things that we love and like. It's just the way that it works. Make sure your intention is positive. You really want to be coming from a place of positivity, experimenting and trying something new out, and really hoping that you're going to be getting the best results for yourself to feel your best. Kind of like I touched on before, you don't want to do it from a place of, oh, I can't stand myself, I just want to fix myself. You really want to be doing it from a place of self-care. I want to feel good every day, that type of thing. Whatever thought works for you, make sure your intention and your starting point is positive. You will have much better results. Be ready to be 100% honest with yourself. You're going to have excuses come up on a daily basis. When you go to eat the foods that are on this plan, you're probably going to have all of the chatter come up in your head. If you're anything like me, you don't have to do this, you don't have to eat this, just go grab something else. You're going to be passing drive-thrus and takeout and everything else. You're going to be thinking about, you're going to have those excuses and that talk pop up in your mind, and you have to be 100% honest with yourself about why you are or aren't doing something. It's super, super important. Be ready for a challenge. This is going to be challenging. It is going to be difficult. That is all part of the process. But every time you're challenged and every time you push through it, you're getting stronger mentally and physically. Just know that you are strong and you can do this. We all can. And honestly, most things that we end up pushing through and we get to the end of and we see success, we want them to be challenging because it just makes us grow and evolve and be able to then accomplish the next thing that much easier. We will be working through urges and cravings as part of this reset, and it is normal and expected to have them. You are probably going to want pizza. You are probably going to want cookies. You're going to want wine. You're going to want all the things that are not on this list, and that is completely okay. The key here is learning how to overcome and handle those and not react to them. Our brain likes safety and comfort. It likes repetition. It likes what we have been doing over and over again for the past, number of weeks, months, years, and this is going to be completely stepping out of your comfort zone for most of us. So you will have all of that come up, and that is completely okay. So focus on mindfulness and intentionality is a huge piece of this in addition to what we're eating. We want to know the purpose for every single thing that we're putting in our mouth. I think I gave the example in another video. Think of it as your front door. You don't have random people just coming in. You don't know why they're there. You don't know what they're doing. Our mouths should be the same way. We shouldn't have random food going in that we literally don't know why it's going in our mouth and what it's doing there. For example, I was really great for a really long time at eating my daughter's food off her plate. Peanut butter jelly? Okay, just pop it right in. That is something that we probably don't want to be doing if weight loss is a goal of ours, or really if just creating a healthy lifestyle or habits is a goal of ours. We want to be knowing what we're putting in our mouth and why. So that is a huge piece of this, is really paying attention and focusing on that. And also intentionally deciding how much and what we want to be eating. All right, so we're starting off with nutrition and what you are going to be eating on the 7-day health reset. If you do better with planning, I suggest you write out a really rough sample plan for yourself and stick to it. This is really a big piece of this is making a plan, committing to it, and honoring that commitment, even though all of that talk that I touched on earlier is going to come up. You don't have to do it. Why are you doing this? Don't bother. You just have to acknowledge it, become aware of it, and push it to the side and move on with what you committed to for yourself. To yourself. All right, so every morning we are going to start off with a detox shot. It's a mini drink. It's like 4 ounces. The recipe is in here. This is something I highly recommend. If you look at it and you're like, no way, that's okay. You don't have to have it. If you choose not to have that, I highly suggest you start your day with a glass of room temperature lemon water. If you don't want room temperature, you can have just lemon water. But I highly suggest you start with the detox shot. Then you're going to focus on vegetables. Of course, I'm sure you guys knew I was going to say this if you listen to anything that I focus on. We want them to be 50% of your plate in this healthy reset. We want to focus on leafy greens and non-starchy vegetables. Like I mentioned, I did put a PDF, I believe it is, into the unit section that gives you a breakdown of every single food group I'm going to touch on here. And I just want to note, corn is not considered a vegetable. And everything else is on that PDF. Fruits, these are optional at each meal, but about 25% of your plate if you're going to have them. We want to focus on low glycemic fruits, which, like I said, there's a breakdown on the PDF I uploaded. Berries are amazing. Blueberries are anti-inflammatory, which is something we really want to focus on during this reset. So those would be my number 1 pick. Blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. Those are my top picks when it comes to fruit. Oranges, cherries, kiwi, those are all good as well. There are some others listed in the low glycemic section of the fruits on there. So all fruits are fine, like I said, but the goal here is to keep our blood sugar balanced. And when you're having very high sugar fruits, you're going to see some of those spikes, just like you would see if you were drinking a bottle of Coke. Even though obviously there are some nutrients in them, they do have very high sugar levels. So we want to focus on the ones that I mentioned, if we can, more than the others. So then the other 25% of your plate is going to be a clean protein source. Now, if you eat meat, I did offer some options for that. Some that are very, they're a little bit easier for your body to digest compared to some of the others. So the ones that I suggest is chicken, turkey, fish, eggs. For this reset and specifically, I really highly recommend that you go for antibiotic free, organic, free of all preservatives and additives. So look at your labels. That's something you're definitely going to want to be doing when you are doing this reset. You want to look for anything you don't recognize, anything you can't pronounce. If you have to Google it, chances are we're not eating it. Anything with added sugars. There's so much added to our food these days, and that is a big piece of this reset, is we are not eating anything that we do not recognize. I mean, obviously, if it's a vegetable you've never heard of, you Google it, that's great. But I'm talking about, all of those other miscellaneous additives that are in our food. Our nut butters, it is amazing what is shoved into them to make them go a little bit further, spread a little bit better, but they are really not good for us, and they were really adding into that inflammation that a lot of us are experiencing on a daily basis. So 25% clean protein sources. I do suggest during this reset that you keep beef and pork out until days 4 through 7, just because it's a little bit harder for our body to digest. It also does take 3 to 5 days for that actually to work its way out of your system. Especially with beef and pork, we really, really want to be going for organic, antibiotic-free, grass-fed, because, those are really the better options for us. If you don't eat meat, protein sources are going to be a little bit different. Typically, we don't include grains or legumes on this, but if you need a protein source, quinoa, legumes, and hemp seeds, nutritional yeast, seeds, and nuts are going to be great options for you. So we're also going to be including pure healthy fats. We're going to use those for cooking, and we're going to be adding those to meals. An additional 2 tablespoons per meal in addition to what you cook with helps keep us full, contributes to brain health, hormone function, all sorts of other things. Also helps our bodies to absorb the vitamins and minerals a little bit better that we're going to be getting from all of the fruits and vegetables that we're going to be eating. So I highly encourage healthy fats. It also helps when you're cooking these proteins. It gives them flavor. It allows you to be able to really appreciate kind of the taste of some of these meats compared to just literally cooking it in a pan with nothing, which most of us have thought was healthy for a very, very long time. I know I did. I thought I needed to eat steamed plain broccoli and seared chicken with nothing on it, and thought I was going to do that for the rest of my life. That's very unlikely. And now I'm very glad to know that healthy fats and everything else is something that I can have on a daily basis, and my food can taste great and I can be super healthy. A few healthy fats that I'll mention really quick. Again, these are all in the PDF breakdown. Coconut oil, ghee, avocado oil, olive oil, nuts. Peanuts are not our legumes, unfortunately. Sorry guys, you can add them in towards the end, but during the master 4 days of the reset, the super clean 4 days, you are not going to be having peanuts, ideally. So almonds, walnuts, cashews, macadamia nuts are amazing. Brazil nuts are really, really good. That's something I didn't try until I did my research on nuts and saw that those were at the top of the list because they contain magnesium and selenium, but you aren't supposed to have too many of them because apparently those vitamins and minerals are things that you want to have a specific amount of, so make sure you look at your portion size there. But yeah, almonds, great options. Walnuts, like I mentioned. Seeds, hemp seeds, chia, flax, sunflower, sesame. Those are all things that you are able to incorporate. You can sprinkle them on your salads, over your dishes. If you guys look at some of my recipes or in the sample meal plan I've also provided, you will see seeds in a lot of the dishes. Nut butters, like I mentioned before, peanut is a legume, so we will not be including it on days 1 through 4. Almond butter, cashew butter, any of those that have simple ingredients. So we are looking for ideally no hydrogenated oils added in. If you guys buy an almond butter or you have one in your kitchen and you have a question about it, post it in the group. I will let you guys know my thoughts. Many of them do have things added in. If it's just salt and sugar and the sodium and the sugars are very low, that's okay. I really, really prefer that it is pure almonds or pure cashews, especially for this. But, we will work with what we can. Nut butters are pure fat, so really to add another oil into the nut butter, it is absolutely unnecessary. It is literally just to make it go further, and because they can when they're manufacturing the food, which really we don't want to be doing. Unprocessed dressings and sauces, I have quite a few on my page. If you guys need specific recipes for them, let me know. I also have a few on the PDF that I uploaded in my sample meal plan. Unlimited spices and herbs, and I will mention some spices and herbs at the end that are known for their anti-inflammatory properties that are really, really great to cook with. I've been experimenting with a ton of them lately, and I have been loving it. It's honestly really fun because chances are it's going to taste good, and if it doesn't, I just put a bunch of hot sauce on it and it's good anyways. But I really rarely have a dish that I'm like, this is disgusting and I can't eat it. Honestly, I'm more likely to have a Pinterest dessert that I try out that is not on this plan fail, and I'm really disappointed then because it's not healthy and it takes usually a million ingredients that I went and had to go out and buy. So just keep that in mind. Feel free to experiment. Most of the time it's going to end up fine, and sometimes you're going to be really, really pleasantly surprised with how amazing something tastes. Unlimited clean condiments, so minimal ingredients, between 1 to 3 ingredients, hot sauce, mustard, vinegars, anything you make with a combination of the ingredients. One of my favorite super simple salad dressings is olive oil, some type of vinegar that could be apple cider vinegar, which is very anti-inflammatory, balsamic vinegar, some tahini seasonings. I pour it all on my lettuce, mix it up really good, chop it up, and it's almost always great. Sometimes I'll just do olive oil and vinegar with some seasonings, some of the herbs I'm going to mention, maybe a splash of like some lemon or orange juice, and it's almost always great. And if it's not, you can just keep tweaking it until it tastes better to you. So that's an option you have when you are making these things on your own. And it takes 2 seconds. It really doesn't have to be a really long, difficult process. So as you're doing these things, I did provide a sample meal plan. Sample is the key word here, just to give you guys some ideas. If you want to look up a recipe, I always suggest you Google Whole30 chicken recipe, Whole30 salmon recipe, Whole30 broccoli recipe, using any of the above things that I said that we are including on this reset. Most of them are going to be using ingredients that I am using in this reset as well. Like I said, we're leaving beef and pork off towards the end, so you probably will want to watch out for those, or just take them out of the recipe. But everything else, because that is really a super, super clean way to eat, they probably will be compliant on my reset as well. All right, so days 1 through 7, basically the whole reset, what we are not eating and drinking. Sorry guys, alcohol is number 1. We are not having that for 7 days. We all know alcohol is not really a healthy beverage, so we are eliminating it. I love my wine, I love my martinis, I love my cocktails, but as I'm trying to reset my system, reset my taste buds, eliminate some of that junk that is kind of, that eventually builds up in our system, alcohol is one of the things that has to go. Added sugars, anything other than pure fruit, with the exception of raw organic honey in one of the drinks that I mentioned here, we are not having during the reset. Packaged and processed foods, anything that has over 3 ingredients, we are probably not including on the reset. We are including the most nutrient dense, whole food ingredients while we're doing this. That is really when you're going to see the most benefit and the best results when you follow this. Additives and preservatives, like I said, if you are not sure what something is, Google it, post it in the group. Chances are, if you do not know what it is and it's not just an odd vegetable or a rare fruit, we're not having it. Any non-food ingredient, again, like I said, legumes, grains, refined flours and starches and sugars, we are not adding in until the end if that's something that you feel that you want to continue having in your overall healthy lifestyle. Otherwise, you're not going to add it back in until, a special occasion like I mentioned before. Gluten, dairy, beef, and pork. Dairy, beef, and pork are waiting until the end. This is all in a breakdown I put in the group because this is a lot to remember. So if you guys really are planning on doing this, like I said, let me know, and I am happy to run an actual challenge in the group that we can all do it together. It'll make it a lot simpler, but I do want to gauge interest on that. So the reintroduction days are days 5 through 7. So basically you're going to be doing the same thing as days 1 through 4, but you're going to be slowly, day by day, reintroducing some of these food groups if you do plan to have them in your overall diet. So like I said, day 5, we would do grains. Day 6, we would do legumes. Day 7, you would do dairy, beef, and pork. If that's something, again, that you want to have in your overall plan. All right, what do you drink on this 7-day reset? The detox drink, first thing in the morning, like I mentioned, I highly suggest you have it, but you don't have to. Lemon water would be the alternative. A full glass of lemon water when you wake up. If you are going to have the detox drink, it's about 4 ounces. It's not huge. I've had people have it that said they never would. It is not delicious, but it's also not awful. If you absolutely have to add a little bit of raw honey to stomach it, that's okay. So it's lemon juice, raw organic apple cider vinegar, ginger, pinch of cayenne pepper, cinnamon, turmeric, filtered water, and fresh squeezed orange juice. And then a pinch of pink Himalayan salt. You blend it, shake it up. You can make a bunch of servings at once. You save it while you're doing the reset, and you have about 4 ounces of it every morning. What it does is it helps to reset your digestive system, is said to kickstart your metabolism, and is also very, very anti-inflammatory. So that is why we have it on the detox. Water, 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 water. Water, 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 water. You're gonna drink a lot of water. Ideally with lemon throughout the day, maybe alternate 1 glass without, 1 glass with. It really helps, again, just promote digestion, and it's anti-inflammatory, everything else. Carry around a jug or water bottle with a straw. I have mine here. My mom actually just bought this for me, and I've been drinking so much more water because it has a straw. I forgot that that actually does work. And I drink a lot of water as it is, but actually being at home, I've been drinking less. So this has been super helpful for me, and I encourage you guys, if you struggle with drinking water throughout the day, carry around a bottle with a straw all the time, or carry around a jug, because then you can literally see how much water you're drinking throughout the day. Coffee or tea is fine. I would say if you can, do decaf, at least, especially if you have a couple cups throughout the day, maybe switch to half decaf. And the way we will be drinking it is either plain or black, or you guys have probably seen my videos. The way I drink it is with minimally processed, no sugar added, unsweetened, non-dairy milk. So that would be like a coconut, a cashew, an almond, the Nut Pods creamer, something that's very minimally processed, very few ingredients, no added sugars or sweeteners. I used to have, like I said, several Splenda in my coffee, and half and half, a ton of it. My cup was like light brown. I don't have anything to show you. Almost this color, guys, almost this color. And tons of Splenda. And I now just use either cashew milk or coconut milk or Nut Pods, and I love it so much. Like I could drink 8 cups. I don't, but I could, because I love the way it tastes. I actually can taste the coffee now, and it's just the perfect combination. So it is possible to make that switch. I also add cinnamon and a pinch of sea salt to mine. So overall focus points here. I'll try to wrap this up fairly quickly, and then just kind of talk with you guys on thoughts on when you guys may want to be starting this, so I can help and guide you along the way. The purpose of this mini detox reset is to eat as close to 100% real food as possible, made up of as many plants. And when I say plants, I mean plants, fruits and vegetables, the things that we can literally take out of the ground and wash and eat. That is the focus here. We're obviously adding in protein because we want to get that in our system as well, but it's really focusing on plants. Eat only when you are truly hungry, when you either have hunger pains. If we're honest with ourselves, like I mentioned earlier, we know when we're really hungry and when we're not, when we're bored, looking for a distraction, stressed. We want to eat when we're hungry. And I am here to guide you guys through those times when you feel like you're not sure if you're hungry, or you're eating when just because you are emotional, or whatever it is. That's what a coach does. So you're eating when you're hungry, and we're stopping when we're about 80% full, so when we're content. If you need to put numbers on it, you can use a scale that I'd be happy to share, but I say when you're feeling that hunger and you've drank your water and you are about 80% full, that's when you're stopping. Same thing with snacking. We are only snacking when we are hungry, and it's a mini meal when you are having a snack. So that's a combination of 2 of the groups I mentioned above, either protein, fats, fruits, and vegetables. 2 of those makes a mini meal. In addition to focusing on eating the most nutrient-dense foods for 5 days during the reset, we really want to focus on mindfulness and intentionality. Like I had mentioned earlier, we want to know the purpose of everything going into our mouth. Why are we eating it? What is it doing for us? And are we hungry? Intentionally deciding how much and what we want to eat, and knowing how we are going to feel after we eat it. This can be done one of 2 ways. It can be as easy or as complicated as you want. If you want to make up a full 7-day meal plan and you want a recipe for every single thing that you eat, you can do that. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I think sometimes you can just follow the list and can literally eat chicken, vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts. You can cook it in a healthy fat, add some seasoning, experiment with some of your meals. You don't have to look up as many recipes. It won't take you as much time, but it's completely up to you the way you do it. The key piece is that you're following the guidelines and you're eating the foods that are on the 7-day reset list, and that you are eliminating some of those others that may be problematic. So like I said, I did provide a sample meal plan in the group. I did provide a breakdown of all the food categories. I really want you guys to make this your own. If there's something on there you wouldn't eat, swap it out for something you would. Again, best way to do that is just to Google Whole30, whatever type of recipe you're looking for. Check through the ingredients really quick. Always be willing to make swaps. I do it all the time. Sometimes I come up with our favorite meals by doing that, just based on what I have. So yeah. This is a favorite quote I always like to share. You guys have probably heard it before in some of my other videos. It's not our food's job to entertain us. It's our job to entertain us. If we are looking for a food to always provide us relief for boredom or sadness or stress or whatever it is, we are always going to be reaching out to food for those things. So really the best way that we can do it is learn how to process our emotions and learn how to create those things for ourselves, and food is just an add-on. So it's always great to have excellent food, but when we feel like we need it to be happy, that's when it becomes a problem. So this is really meant to kind of reset everything, mind, body, your thought process around it, and hopefully help out with that. Okay, so this next section is on cravings and urges. So when you have cravings for certain foods, which like I said is completely normal and part of the process, if you are following the 7-day health reset, you will likely have cravings for foods. You're going to have your spouses, maybe family members, coworkers who are eating foods that are not on our healthy reset, I guarantee it. And the way we deal with that is by processing it, not by getting mad at the other person, blaming them, or going off of your plan that you committed to. There's a whole breakdown here for doing this. I'll run through it really quick, but it is a little bit more, there's more to it than just what I have here in bullet points. So if we are going through this as a group, or if you guys decide that it's something you want to do, I'm happy to help you through some of this and explain really the process behind it. Number one is knowing that they will come. Know that you probably are going to want a chocolate chip cookie when it is not part of the plan. Knowing that you're really going to want wine at the end of a hard day during that 7 days when it's not part of the plan. So the first step is just to acknowledge the craving and urge for what it is. It is literally just a thought in your brain that is buzzing around, is telling you that you need to do something to feel a certain way. Separating that thought from the actual action you take is the first step. They are two completely different things. We have control over what we do even when we have that thought going on in our head. Number two is ask yourself, do I want to eat or drink this? Am I hungry if it comes to food? Do I want to have this glass of wine when I fully committed to doing this reset? So that's a big piece. What do you want to do? And if you're hungry, eat food that follows the guidelines. Number three is, if not, say you decide you're not going to have this wine, you committed to this, or you are not hungry and you just think you want a cookie. You are going to just acknowledge and accept the urge or craving that is going through your mind for what it is. It is literally a thought. You're just going to sit there and you're going to let it be there. You're not going to react to it. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to acknowledge it exists. It'll be uncomfortable, and that is okay. It's all part of it. It's challenging, it's uncomfortable, but we just have to let that process through and just sit there with it, and eventually it dissipates. So we also have to acknowledge that we don't need a food or drink to improve our life. We don't need a food or drink to take away an emotion, a feeling, a circumstance, or to create one. We have the power to do that ourselves. And then just remembering the commitment you made to yourself and honoring that commitment. What did you plan to do? Have an idea before these cravings and urges come up of what your plan is. How are you going to handle them? Are you going to follow my steps? Do you have your own? But just remember that commitment you made and honor that commitment to yourself. And then you're going to repeat this process until it becomes a habit. Repeat it over and over and over until you do these things more than you give in to that thought that you have in your brain that you want a cookie or you want a piece of pizza or whatever it is that you maybe really, truly, deep down don't want to eat because it's not helping you reach your goals. Every time we give into an urge or craving, we are training our brains to think and remember When they ask for something, we're gonna give it to them. Brooke Castillo, who I mentioned many times, she's one of my favorite podcasts. I think it was on her podcast that I heard her explain it like a toddler in a store screaming for a candy or a toy. Every time they scream for a candy or toy, my daughter, when she's going to bed, she's crying and asking me to come in and give her the most ridiculous things. Water, chapstick, she wants her blankets retucked in. Every time I go in there after she's sleeping and do it for her, it is literally training that child that I'm gonna do it the next day and the next and the next. We're doing the same exact thing when we have urges or cravings and we give in to them on a regular basis. So I encourage you to think about that as you're doing it. In many groups that I'm in or clients I've worked with, we are trained over the years, I know I was, that you're craving sweets. So, okay, have some berries. I'm craving sweets, I'll have a healthier option. But you're actually still feeding into that craving. And that is what I highly suggest that you guys don't do if it's something that you want to eliminate, because you are doing that same thing that I just mentioned. Your brain really doesn't know the difference between berries and a candy bar. It just realizes that it's telling you, give me sugar, and you're giving it sugar. So I just want you guys to be thinking about that as we go along with this process. So daily, as part of the 7-day health reset, we are going to be moving every single day, a minimum of 15 minutes. I started a movement challenge back in the beginning of April. I think it was April 1st I started. It was a minimum of 15 minutes a day, and I have been doing it ever since. And I love it because every day I know that I'm going to get my 15 minutes of movement in. So I encourage you guys to start doing something similar. Some days it's just a walk. Today I literally went for a walk for like 25-30 minutes because that's what I decided to do. So you don't have to do an intense, crazy workout every day. I just want you guys to get in the habit of moving your body on a regular basis. Minimum 15 minutes a day. That can be walking down your street, can be walking in front of your TV if it's raining. It can be doing a full-on, 30 to 45 minute workout, whatever works for you. But the key piece here is minimum of 15 minutes a day of movement. So I'm going to give you guys a real quick sample day of eating on the reset. Like I said, there is a sample meal plan in the group as well, and I'm happy to help you guys create some for yourselves if it's something that you want to do. So you're going to wake up, you're going to have a glass of water. Then you're going to have the detox shot. Like I said, if the detox shot is something you're not doing 100%, have another glass of lemon water. Then you're going to have, for me, I have coffee. I have it with either coconut or cashew milk, a pinch of salt, and cinnamon. Then I have more water, then I'm having my breakfast. My breakfast is either a green smoothie that has protein, fiber, and some other nutrient-dense whole foods, anti-inflammatory foods in there. It's usually greens, blueberries. It has collagen protein. Collagen is really, really beneficial in helping to heal your gut, which I will mention later on. It has chia seeds or flax, and then it has, I can't remember what I said already, blueberries, leafy greens. I have this all over my page and I will share it in the group as well so you guys can see the actual recipe. Almond butter, which is the healthy fat. Or I'm going to have an egg and veggie scramble, or I'm going to have a veggie and egg bowl. I post those all the time, my breakfast bowls. I've been experimenting with some warming breakfast bowls that include some of the spices that are on the document, and they are so good, and they're extremely anti-inflammatory, really healing for your gut, good for digestion. So I encourage you guys to experiment with some of those. Or a chia pudding, which is like almond milk or coconut milk with chia seeds, some fruit, and cinnamon, a pinch of sea salt. Really good, and an alternative option if you don't want to have eggs every day and if you don't want to have a green smoothie every day. I encourage you to mix those in sparingly, only because I encourage you to have, I keep saying that. I encourage you to have vegetables at every meal. Do you guys ever notice that happens when you think about a word, you repeatedly start to say it? Well, that's what's happening here. More water. Then for lunch, typically it's a big green salad with seasonings, olive oil, vinegar, walnuts, and a clean protein, usually a leftover. Or a veggie bowl with a clean protein. Just switching up my dinner from the night before, throwing a bunch of things together that I have left over, and adding spices, seasonings, some maybe a little bit more olive oil, lemon, and making it taste good. Then I'm having more water. Dinner is usually roasted vegetables, a clean protein over cauliflower rice. This is just a sample day. And then before bed, if you're hungry, have a snack. If you are truly hungry, you've had your water, have a snack. Have a mini meal like I mentioned before. We ideally don't want to do this right before bed, but like I keep saying, if you're hungry, I do not want you to not eat unless you really don't want to eat. A few other options before bed is obviously more water, tea, or a golden milk latte, which is something I included on here. It does include a little bit of raw honey, but all of the ingredients are very, very healthy and beneficial for your body, your digestion, and your gut. So it is something that I did include on here in case that's something you guys are interested in experimenting with. It can also replace coffee in the morning if you're looking for something to have that is somewhat similar but not the coffee. So lastly, I'm going to go through a list of optional add-ons here. These are also very, very beneficial when you're doing something like a reset or cleanse, detox. They are not required, but they have been very helpful for me in the past. A daily probiotic, if you're not currently using one, that is something that is really helpful to replenish some of that healthy gut bacteria. Experimenting with anti-inflammatory spices. I talked a little bit on that before. I am incorporating anti-inflammatory spices all throughout this plan, but there's a whole list of some of them on here. I will also be uploading that into the group to give you guys some ideas. And also something I didn't put on the main document is bone broth. Bone broth is very, very beneficial. Chicken or beef. Beef I would leave towards the end just because it's not something that we are incorporating from the start. But chicken bone broth is also very, very beneficial. And there are some really good recipes for chicken soups and all sorts of different things that you can use that for. And collagen protein, which is very similar to the benefits of bone broth you can get in collagen protein as well. I've mentioned that before. I use either Vital Proteins or there's another brand, I think it's called Healthy Delights. They sell it at Vitamin Shot. Those are two that I will use in my smoothies. They help keep me full. It also provides the benefits of the collagen in that as well. So again, I know this is really long, guys, so I hope you made it to the end. If you have questions, please let me know. Like I said, I really would love to run a full 7-day reset in the group. I will post something about that to see who would be interested in joining in and actually doing it from start to finish. If you are planning on doing it on your own, let me know what questions you have. Like I said, separately uploaded, I have a PDF breakdown of everything I just went over. I have a sample meal plan, and I also have a breakdown of all of the food categories that I have talked about. So I hope you guys will think about doing something like this. I hope you'll reach out to me if there's anything that I can help with, and I will talk to you guys soon.